Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something really quite bizarre, a forensic look at this wild story. Imagine corporate denial clashing head-on with, well, deep-sea biological horror, and the entire British energy grid. Hanging by a thread, saved by one specific, really chilling noise, we're diving deep into the mystery of the deadly sound.
It's an absolutely incredible story, and it really highlights how vulnerable our huge infrastructure projects can be,
Yeah.
especially against something truly alien. Our sources paint this picture of a remote gas refinery way off the East Anglian coast, completely isolated, and it becomes ground zero for what's essentially, well, an ecological invasion.
Yeah, and the setting they describe is just immediate and harsh. You've got our travelers, the doctor, Jamie, Victoria, landing on this bleak, pebbly beach, and it's freezing. Jamie's legs are apparently turning, and this is a quote, a decided shade of blue. Even with the doctor sporting this huge woolen bubble hat. But the cold is almost secondary, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The real issue is the atmosphere, the wrongness of it. They step onto what feels like a dead zone. And the first clue, the big warning sign, it isn't a machine breaking down. It's nature itself. The beach is empty, no birds, no crabs, nothing. And the shoreline, covered in these thick, really frothy patches of sea foam, just shouldn't be there.
Victoria just dismisses it, right? Like, oh, it's just the sea.
Yeah, she thinks it's normal, messy ocean stuff.
Yeah.
But the doctor, he knows immediately. Something is deeply unnatural about this foam.
It's that difference between just seeing something and actually analyzing it. That foam is the first sort of physical sign of the enemy. And it's pooling right there around this big exposed aluminum natural gas pipeline, the main line from the North Sea rigs.
And this pipeline, well, becomes central pretty quickly. You've got Jamie, remember, he's a Highlander from the 1740s, completely baffled by the idea of gas from the sea. It's absurd to him. But the doctor's focused. He finds a remote-controlled valve, figures out there in the 20th century, and then he hears it.
Ugh, the sound. Let's get to that because it's pivotal. Janie puts his ear against the cold metal pipeline first, doesn't he? And just recoils.
He does, and the doctor confirms it with his stethoscope.
Yeah.
He describes it as a deadly sound. Slow, rhythmic, thumping, pulsating, like a heartbeat. And it's reverberating along the entire pipeline.
A heartbeat inside the gas line. That's deeply unsettling.
It is. And what's really interesting is the nature of that sound. It's low frequency, repetitive. It suggests, well, organization, almost like it's communicating or just asserting its presence biologically.
Yeah.
Using this huge piece of human engineering like a drum.
And whatever it is, it doesn't like being listened to because right after they identify the sound, bang, they're captured.
Yep. Tranquilizer darts from a hidden rifleman. And Victoria gets grabbed amidst these weird, pulsing clumps of seaweed moving in the living seaweed. Next thing they know, they wake up as prisoners inside the refinery control hall.
So from the weird dead beach to the heart of the human problem, the corporate structure.
Exactly. We shift scenes to this high-tech control hall, circular, lots of aluminum and perspex. This is the nerve center, supplying gas to pretty much the whole south of England and Wales. And dominating the room, that massive pipeline again, and this giant piston impeller pump.
Okay, let's talk about the people in charge, because this is where the human error really kicks in. You've got Controller Robson. He's described as burly, gray hair, jutting jaw, bit crude, the boss.
Yeah.
And he has the secret fear of the sea.
That's crucial. And then there's Frank Harris, controller number 2. Seems weaker, more focused on the stats, the data. And Robson is the bottleneck. He absolutely embodies that corporate arrogance. He just refuses to believe anything's seriously wrong.
Even with the evidence piling up.
Even when Harris shows him clear data. A progressive pattern over 3 weeks of pressure building up, then dropping sharply. The system is obviously failing dynamically. But Robson, it's sabotage or faulty gauges. Anything but an external, unconventional threat. His personal phobia about the sea seems to translate directly into professional denial.
It's a classic management trap, isn't it? When something unprecedented happens, if it's not in the manual, deny it exists. And that denial almost costs them everything.
And while Robson's denying, the threat is already inside, working from within. We meet Mr. Oak and Mr. Quill. Small and fat, tall and thin, sinister guys. They're posing as maintenance controllers, wandering around in white uniforms.
Yeah.
But they're not human. Not anymore.
This is where the doctor has that brilliant deduction, right? Based on something Victoria sees.
Yes. Victoria stumbles upon one of them. It might have been Oak or Quill or someone similar in the oxygen storeroom. And the person is wearing a gas mask inside an oxygen store.
Which makes no sense unless...
Unless, as the doctor figures out, pure oxygen is now toxic to them. Think about it. If they need masks where there's pure oxygen, it implies the air they're now breathing, or rather expelling, is poisonous to humans. The weed creature feeding on the gas has somehow converted its hosts, flipped their whole biology.
So oak and quill aren't just controlled puppets. They're walking biological contamination units, living inside the refinery's nerve center, perfectly adapted to an environment lethal to everyone else. That's terrifying.
It really is. And the source of it all, the creature itself,
Mm.
the descriptions are chilling. A living algae grown to mammoth proportions, but with no shape or form, no features. Just these wriggling, apparently squealing tentacles and that deep, deafening heartbeat sound we heard in the pipeline.
And there's that detail about the drawing, found in an old book.
Yeah, a book of legends and superstitions from old North Sea sailors. It suggests this isn't some new mutation caused by the gas rigs. It's ancient. Something from the deep that's been awakened, or maybe just found a massive new food source.
Natural gas itself.
Exactly. Its biology demands it. It feeds on the gas, expels toxic fumes, the very fumes its control agents now need to survive.
Yeah.
The doctor even analyzes a clump of that seaweed foam. Finds toxic gas, yes, but also molecular movement under magnification. It's alive, aggressively so.
It's like a planetary immune system fighting back, but using our own technology against us. And the attack strategy is smart, calculated.
Highly calculated. The doctor notes a pattern. The top priority people in the Eurogas network have been affected first. It's going straight for the control structure, paralyzing the human response system.
We see that clearly with Maggie Harris, Frank Harris's wife.
A slimy seaweed clump just left on her husband's desk file. She touches it, gets stung. Then she gets drowsy, starts hearing voices. And later, she actually sprouts this frond-like weed formation on her hand and arm. She's taken over completely. They find her later, cocooned, having been transported out to the main control rig. No memory of anything.
And even Robson, Mr. Denial himself, he can't hold out forever.
No. The mental pressure, the telepathic influence it gets him too. He apparently rushes out of his cabin at one point screaming, "It touched my face." Later, he's found completely under control. Voice all stilted, robotic, and the weed uses him to kidnap Victoria, using the boss to disable the system further.
So things are spiraling fast.
Very fast. Catastrophe's looming. 3 rigs out at sea have gone completely silent. And crucially, back at the refinery, that giant impeller pump, the mechanical heart of the gas flow starts grinding to a halt. It's physically jammed at the base by the weed itself, growing into the machinery.
And the control room is filling with that awful foam. Harris is in charge now, but his hands are tied.
Pretty much. He desperately tries to get authorization to bomb the rigs, just sever the connection, contain the spread. But he's denied. You can imagine the reasons: cost, politics, maybe disbelief higher up. So brute force is out. They need another way. A technical solution.
And the doctor realizes where the weed's central command must be.
Right. He sees the controlled Robson heading out towards the control rig complex, one of the big platforms out at sea. He hypothesizes that must be the nerve center, the main colony, the source of the heartbeat.
Which leads us to the breakthrough, the unexpected weapon. It wasn't a bomb, it wasn't a chemical.
It was a scream. Victoria's scream. Pure chance, almost. Robson, under control, is trying to grab Victoria, or maybe just retreating from the doctor. And Victoria lets out this absolutely piercing scream, and Robson just stops dead, writhes in agony.
Incredible. The doctor immediately gets it, doesn't he?
Instantly. He realizes her scream, described as her loudest, most terrifying scream, isn't just loud. It hit a specific frequency, a sonic layer sound wave that the weed's nervous system, or whatever it uses, is hypersensitive to. It's the perfect acoustic counterweapon to that low, thumping heartbeat it uses to control everything.
So fight sound with sound.
Precisely. Tactical genius born from observation. Forget fighting the sheer mass of the weed. Attack its control frequency and the delivery mechanism. Brilliant. He uses the weed's own conduit against it. He gets 4 magnetized loudspeakers, wires them to some electronic gadget he built,
and clamps them directly onto the main gas pipeline.
Yes. The very pipeline the weed was using as its communication channel, its drum. He records Victoria's scream, creates a continuous loop, and pumps it down the pipeline, transmitting it as a high-intensity sonic wave directly to the control rig complex out at sea. The description says the sound waves were so powerful they would cut you to pieces if aimed at a human.
But not aimed at a human, aimed at the weed's nerve center.
And the effect is immediate, dramatic. The weed attacking the refinery, the foam surging into the control room, it all just retreats rapidly. Harris gets confirmation soon after. The controlled humans, Robson, Maggie, Van Lutjens, the technical advisor, they're all recovered from the control rig. Safe, restored. And importantly, with no memory of what happened to them, the rigs flash back online. Crisis averted.
Wow, what an incredible sequence of events. A giant psychic gas-eating seaweed defeated by sound waves. It really is a phenomenal case study. Corporate blindness nearly causes disaster. Mechanical systems get overwhelmed, and the solution comes from understanding the biology, the physics, and a bit of sonic engineering.
Using the enemy's infrastructure against itself. Classic, Doctor. But that whole ordeal, that level of intense stress and horror, it leaves a mark, especially on Victoria.
Right. The source material notes she's just tired. Tired of one crisis on top of another.
Understandably. And she makes a really significant choice. She decides to leave the Doctor and Jamie. She opts to stay behind with the Harrises, Frank and Maggie, presumably hoping for a quieter, more stable life.
That must have been hard for Jamie. The description of him watching her go.
Yeah, with a crumpled, hurt look on his face. It's a quiet, poignant moment, a reminder that the Doctor's life isn't for everyone. Some people need roots, stability.
A very human ending to a very alien encounter. But the source material doesn't quite let us relax, does it? It ends with the sea.
No, it brings us back to the setting. Reminds us the sea's ancient, powerful, and crams with dark secrets that man on planet Earth has never fully understood of. The immediate fury is gone. The rigs are back online. The sea looks calm again.
So here's the final thought we want to leave you with. The text makes a point of saying that even after the main weed retreated, those small blobs of bubbling white foam and straggling clumps of seaweed are still rolling in gently on the tide. If the victory was won by disrupting a frequency, not by total annihilation, what does that lingering presence mean? Did they just win a battle? Is that ancient adaptable horror just dormant now, waiting for the noise to stop so it can quietly begin to grow again in the depths?